Yeah, no, I'm not scared.
Okay, my friends, thank you for joining us today. We have a very special guest, a very dear friend of mine who is also in the industry, Mr. Malcolm Lovejoy. Thank
Hello,
you for
hello,
joining.
hello.
So we're just gonna get right into it, kind of feed off each other's energy. We're gonna yes.
Yeah, yeah,
No
right.
foreplay needed today. You know how I roll, everybody that's watching. So I'm just gonna let Malcolm introduce, kind of talk about the world of things from his point of view and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'll
Amazing.
let you have the floor.
Hi, thank you. Happy to be here. Hi. I'm Malcolm Lovejoy. I am a professional lovemaker. I'm a sacred sexual intimate. I'm a musician. I'm a journalist. I'm a creative spirit. And yeah, I start with all the beautiful stuff up there, but when it's like just my regular job, I am a life model and artist in Toronto. So yeah, it's a good life. It's a good life. I'm really trying to live in doing sex work and relationship therapy and healing and all that beautiful stuff. But the world is, I'm not doing it full time because it's a rough life, but I'm doing it part time and I love where things are going. And I'm happy to be here.
Oh my God. Yes. Multi-passionate beings such as myself. Woo!
Absolutely. Oh
I
my
was
God.
saying that to my friend the other day. I was like, I call myself an extremist where I'm like in sacred sexuality and, intimacy work. And then I'll like there's a job posting for like princess parties or something where you like dress up as a Disney princess for a child's birthday party and you're like, what?
Yeah, yeah, like
But that's the world I live in. I can do both, right? Like,
absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Like I went to an event last night, a gathering of sex workers, and they had three performers, and one of them was a boylesque performer. And yes, shout out the homie, Cage Wolf. And he reminded me that I mean, it's not like I forgot, but I am juggling multiple dreams right now. And a few years ago, I actually did boylesque for a while, and I am a burlesque performer. And I'm literally juggling so many things. I got a book, I got an album, I got some other projects, and I was reminded, I was like, damn, I do that and I love that. And it's been a few years since I did my boylesque stuff. I did a boylesque performance to Hotline Bling by Drake a few years ago.
hello.
And yeah, even had a glittering lint roller. Like, anyways, there's a lot of dreams, a lot of love, a lot of art expression that I'm here to give in this life. And I like how you say that, multi-passionate being. So
Yeah, so for everyone that knows me, I'm really heavily into human design, which is basically a blueprint to your soul, who you're
mm,
designed to be on this planet at this time. And I'm a manifesting generator, which states we are multi-passionate beings. And I'd be curious to do your chart if you ever would love that.
I would love that. I love them things. Oh,
To see, a little bit more inside of how you were designed. And we're very similar. So I can only imagine what that looks like. But
fantastic.
yeah. So yeah, tell me, how did you get started? Like, where was the passion? Where was the drive to be like, let's have multiple passions, multiple projects, a lot of heavily influenced by the sacred sexuality world. What is that like?
It goes all the way back to my days of puberty, to be honest. And I'm going to start at the before I got before I got to the sacred part.
Mm.
I'm going to start with the love and passion part. And when I was 13 years old, I'm just going to be very raw and real. When I was 13 years old, I remember where I was standing in my particular house at Bayview and Shepherd in Toronto. I was in grade 8, and I thought to myself, I was like, musician is the best job in the world because you can travel to a new city every day and you meet a new woman to make love to every day, and they want to be at your concert because they like your music. So I'm like, musician is awesome. Like every night, world tour and make love every night. So that's why I got into music as a child. I was young, and then like a little time went on and I was like, yeah, you can write political messages and be very poetic and have these intellectual and commentary and all that stuff, social commentary, which is great. And I love it. I love Public Enemy. I love NWA. I love political music. But I started music to make love on tour. So and I'm not the first. Many musicians are like, yo, man, like I write for women. I write love songs to meet people. So yeah, started with music. And then I did music journalism, hosting various things, college radio show, etc., etc. And then after about 15, 20 years in music, I was like, this is a limited realm to explore, to talk about queer stuff, to talk about certain political stuff, to talk about sacredness, to talk about higher levels of kink or other things in sex. I'm like, you know what? Rock stars aren't as sexy as I thought, actually. Like, it's like some of them are like all right, but like
Oh wow.
I need to be a porn star. Like I was like, I love music, but music is kind of like the middleman to my sexual dreams. So I'm like, music, you're beautiful, but I'm gonna put you to the side for a moment and go directly into sex. So yeah, I in my early 30s, I chose to be a sex worker, and I sincerely think it was the best decision of my entire life, and I'm never going to turn back. I love what I do. I love the world that I'm in. I love my friends, my family, my colleagues. My family knows I'm out to all my family, like my blood family, but I also love my extended community of sex work family. I can't even tell you how important these people are to me and the world that I've been introduced into by choosing to be a sex worker. And yeah, like I have a spiritual, religious, artistic view of sexuality as well. And it's been interesting to be like, all right, I'm in sex work, but not everybody is in this with an idea around sex being divine. Like some people are like, I'm just here for the money. Like I'm just here for the sex, or I'm just here for whatever. I do it for this and then I'm out. And it's like, that's great. That's great. That's totally cool. We're colleagues. A lot of society still hates both of us, whether you're just doing sex for money or you're being a sacred intimate. They're just like, oh, y'all are weird, and how can you do that with sex? And you should be settling down and getting married. And it's like, no, that doesn't work for me, and that doesn't even work for a lot of people who pretend it does work. So like, we're here healing and helping people who want to find quote unquote alternative philosophies around sex, but like it's like, no, these are just ancient pathways and like things that have been happening for thousands and tens of thousands of years in the world, and this modern life and society just isn't aware of it. But yeah, sacred goddess worship goes back. Yeah, so
Yeah.
there's a lot to say. I'm gonna stop there. That's a lot of
Oh,
my
I
life.
love it. I love it. I'm very similar in the way of, I'm a tantrika,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a lot of, what that means. But for me, it doesn't mean ideally what it means to most people. So for me, it's like I'm here to hold space for you to discover your authentic truth through sacred sexuality.
Yes.
Okay. So now I have different boundaries around what that entails inside of a session, right? So sometimes people will do the full union. I'm not one of those people. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
knocking them people because God knows I love y'all.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here in your corner cheering you on. It's just for me as a personal thing. It's not for me.
Yeah,
And just
absolutely.
knowing what is good, what is okay, what works, and know that I can pivot or be fluid about that. So I think that's probably the best part of what I do is that, never ever is one session the same. Even if it's the
Yes.
same person in the same setting, at the same kind of time, just a different day maybe, but like it's never the same.
Mm-hmm.
And people always want to know the juice, right? They're like, what's going to happen? What should I expect? And I'm like, rule number uno, do not come with an expectation.
Mm-hmm. Clear your mind. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I love it. Yeah.
The more you can be open, the more experience you'll actually obtain inside of whatever container we're holding. And
Oh, I
sometimes it is just love energy. There's no sexuality present. Some people just need that like touch, that love, that huggingness. And I think that's part of the reason why I adopted another project of mine with the professional cuddling. I love to just hold people, let
yeah,
them feel the love present. Sometimes people are very numb to that. Sometimes people have a lot of anxiety and they're like literally shaking when I'm holding them. And I have to be okay with that, and knowing that, people may not have experienced what I have in this lifetime, and that's okay. Maybe that's why I do what I do.
that's exactly it, and it's really interesting because I definitely put out my romantic side and my sacred side as far as the sex work that I do. I also love massage, and
Mhm.
I've done a little bit of cuddle session stuff, and I've met some of the cuddlers, and it's wonderful stuff, it really is. And exactly like what you're saying, it's really interesting because I've always been, quote unquote, touchy feely. Even when I was 13, I'm like, I love massage. Like that's just how I was. I'm like, it's just my nature and my way of being and expression. So it's really interesting to find people who I'm like, you're alive. You're like an adult and whatever. You obviously you're got jobs. You're a competent human being. Wow, it's really interesting to see how they've gotten so far in life, but they still might not have ever had certain things that we might think are fundamental basics. Like I've got $100,000 job and a car and a house and all this stuff, but I can't receive a hug. And
Hmm.
I don't know how to like initiate a kiss. And like the very, very little things are like, I'm not comfortable being naked, period. Like
Hmm.
I've heard people who say that they don't even like really look looking at their own bodies and stuff. And I know somebody who was 29 years old and had an outburst and said, I've never seen my own vagina. And like it was a moment I could hear it in their soul. They were like, we were on a porn set and this was a director, and they were like bursting out of there, said like, these are the only people I can confess to that I have this shame around sexuality that like I can't even talk to my parents or my coworkers or my family about. And certain other friends, even like I have to talk to people who really are in sex, who probably won't judge me and probably will have an understanding of how I can find a solution to this.
Hmm.
And it's just amazing. Yeah, I mean, it's, like you said, it's never any judgment. It's really never judgment. It's just like discerning alignment to be like, well, can I help you? Does my work like serve you or does it not? And like, if it doesn't, I will send you to somebody, a healer or a sex worker that does what you need. And I'm not going to shame. Yeah, I would never shame you or whatever. I like in my porn and stuff, it's constantly they're like, what won't you do? I'm like, I won't do piss. I won't do shit. I won't do blood. But I know lots of cool, great professional adult people out there who do scenes involving piss, shit, and blood or needles or things that are out of my realm. But I'm like, they're professional, they're safe, they're certified, they're consensual, and it's legal, and like they will respect your boundaries. So like I would never slander them. I would never slander you for looking for it. And I just want you to find it, set up your safe space, and then rub shit all over your faces the way you want to. Like that's not me, but like you go and do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's yeah. I
I
wish you like your connection.
Yeah, so this is something I've really kind of adapted to with people having interesting requests.
Yeah.
A lot of times people are not clear on what tantra is and what it's not. So it's
Mhm.
my job to really educate and allow people to feel safe in that container. So I always say, tell me what's true in your heart, and I can tell you if I can provide that to you or not.
Oh, that's
And
beautiful.
yes, and because the more clear you are, this doesn't have to necessarily just be with sex and intimacy, but any area of your life, when you can be abundantly clear on your desire or what you want to see happen or goal, whatever that is, the more readily available it actually will be for you.
Mhm.
So I say, I am a safe space. That's why we have consultation calls to see if we're a good fit. And if we're not, I have an abundant list of people that would be willing to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
And that's like more life for everyone,
Mhm.
right? We're not judging, we're not shaming. We're like, oh, okay, I understand you. And they probably, my best bet is like 9 times out of 10, no one's ever been able to just receive their communication and just go, oh, okay, cool.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
no judgment. It's just
None.
literally not within my scope, not within my boundary. And
Mhm.
I got a guy who does that actually. Let me give
Yeah.
him a call for you.
That's it.
And
It's
that's it.
like a doctor. It's like a doctor who's like, I do head, neck, and shoulders, and someone's like, my knee is fucked up. It's like, you came to the doctor, that's great, but I don't work on knees. I work on head, neck, and shoulders. Let me send you to a knee specialist. It's literally that straight up.
Yep.
And it's like, no doctor would judge somebody who is like, a doctor's just like, I just don't work that part of the body.
Yeah.
And we're just working on more spiritual internal parts. Like that's literally the same thing. So yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's really no shame. Like I don't ever, I just said it last night. I love relationships. I love the mystery of connection. Like no matter what technology is doing, no matter how much it feels like World War III might be looming or whatever, it's like Putin or the Trump era we just got through or whatever's going on in the world that's chaotic. It's like every day you still read headlines about relationships, breakups, babies being born, cheating, whatever. There's still like people are posting stuff on the internet all the time about relationships and how they're either falling apart or coming together.
Yeah.
So
And
I
that's,
just I love it. And it's like, what's causing it? Like what is the magic that makes you say the thing or find the courage to be like, God damn it, today's the day that I buy her the flowers, or like write the note, or like shoot my shot, or whatever. Like that is making the world go round.
yeah. And I thank you so much for that. Cause I think even in my story is like, I was at the mercy of infidelity and, I felt trapped in my relationship.
Mm.
So, like we were living in the same house, but we were living separate lives. I didn't know who he was. And that caused me to look outside of the relationship, i.e., outside of myself,
Mm-hmm.
to get my needs met. And
Mm-hmm.
that looked like partying till God knows what hour, dancing and drinking and blacking out and not remembering and using that as an excuse to not take responsibility for the emptiness that was actually in my life.
Damn.
So, I got myself in this situation and it ended up it separated us. And it was probably the best thing that ever happened because that was the thing that sent me on my journey of healing. I went to counseling, I went to CODA, which is Codependence Anonymous. I went to the hospital to get a psych test, make sure I'm literally not not psycho.
Wow.
And I honestly just needed someone to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
I had not dealt with the grievances of my father passing away many years earlier. And I didn't know how to speak up. I didn't know how to speak my truth. I didn't know how to ask for what I wanted. I just had this like, no, I got it. I can figure it out on my own. But really, I was screaming inside.
Wow.
So I diligently never want anyone else to feel that way, or at least to know that there's an option to change that for yourself. I mean, I did that all on my own. And, like I don't need a pat on the back or anything, but it's like someone's got to go first kind of deal, right? Like, and I think because that was happening and took many years for me to really not have shame around it and sabotage and make myself very wrong and, like what kind of person does that? And it was like it was a very human condition thing to do when you didn't know what else to do to get your needs met.
Truly. And
So
I'm
now that
glad.
I'm in this
I'm glad you found
position,
that. Yeah, I'm glad you're there.
it's like it's literally the flip side of everything. And this is why I do what I do. So if anyone's ever wondering, how did I get into this? Why did I start this? I feel like that was the biggest catalyst as to why I am here today. There were other little nuggets and things that happened to make me go, maybe I should dig a little deeper into my own intimacy. But at the cornerstone of everything, I think that was the biggest trigger, biggest factor in my life that was like, okay, people need this.
Mhm.
Relationships are not going away. Connections never going away.
Never, never. It's
And when
not.
they try to make us say, no, don't connect, stand 6 feet apart.
Exactly. Yes. That like all this stuff. Like I even seen like there is a wild thing happening. There's a lot of in this generation, apparently there's less sex happening with young adults than ever before. And there's a lot of individuality, a lot of, people getting fulfilled with social media and digital stuff. And it's like some people are like they would rather play the chasing game and just pretend they're having relationships than have actual relationships. And nah, nah, that doesn't work for me. But like, I mean, people, I hope they're happy, but I'm also not going to reinforce a conservative standard that says sex is wrong and sex is shameful and sex should be limited and denied and put aside and hidden. A lot like some of these kids were saying, yo, man, like with that show You, even an actor from the show You on Netflix, he's like, I don't do sex scenes anymore because I have a wife and it's disrespectful to my wife. And I'm like, you're playing a fictional character in a fictional like your no consent is being violated. This is not wrong. This is not, and there are ways to depict sexuality and relationships in cinema that aren't disrespectful to anybody, whatever. Like, this is ridiculous to pretend like sex is some shameful part of life. But then there will be murder in movies and gunshots and bombs and all these other things that happen in the world. And then you people are limiting sexuality and sex scenes and romance because you think that people shouldn't see it. What the fuck? This is pathetic. It happens in the world. Grow up, be an adult. If you're really freaked out about a sex scene in a movie, close your eyes or read the warning on the movie, because movies say that's what it literally says. Rated R. There will be sex in the movie. So it's like, don't see any rated R movies if you really are that way. Just watch your Disney and stick to and leave us.
Disney Plus.
Exactly. Watch your Disney Plus and don't watch anything else made, because one thing I like to say is that relationships and the people that we are gladiators. We are gladiators in the arena of emotion and passion and flesh. We are in the middle of the war. We are fighting the fears. We are fighting the phobias. We are fighting the darkness, the pain, the breakup, the rape, the assault, the savagery, the death, the madness. We are in the arena fighting, and a lot of people are sitting in the stands watching us fight. And they sit in the stands and they're like, oh, that person's wrong. I would never do that. How can da 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 da? They're judging and complaining, commenting, whatever about people who are actually doing the work, people who are actually in sexuality, being like, yo, I've literally taken. I don't want to pat on the back for this, just like, but like the work that we do. I'm like, yeah, there was a horrible night where a woman got raped, and she came to me, and she's like, listen, I don't know who else that would help me. Can you take me to the hospital? And I did, and I brought her to St. Mike, and like I sat and I saw the people at St. Mike's treating her horribly, and I'm like, this is just infuriating. They were like disrespectful to her because she was a sex worker. So I'm here trying to go beyond my emotional capacity. I'm like, I'm not the greatest in this situation, but I care and I'm here and I will listen and bring compassion and try to be a safe space, as the importance of being a sincerely safe space for humans in various levels of need.
Mhm.
So I've seen all kinds of other people in society, like whether it's humans or it's institutions, and they're just ignorant of the work we do, disrespectful of it, judgmental, and denying its value and denying its purpose and need. And it's like, nah, one day someone's gonna die or leave you or cheat on you or break your heart or screw you over, or have like you're gonna walk in on somebody who's like, yeah, I've been in the closet for 25 years. Hey, I really want to be lesbian. Hey, really et cetera, and you're not going to have the emotional capacity to deal with it because the society shames all of us who talk about it and work on it and evolve through it. So
Totally.
we are like, I'm just that the end of that is we are the gladiators really doing the fighting the hard fight.
Yeah.
And I don't when I see these people in the stands who have their opinions, whatever, I'm like, man, I don't care what you have to say. Really, I don't. And like, I only care what other gladiators have to say who can
The
teach me.
armchair activists.
Armchair activists, straight up, like, what does your opinion mean? You have never
If
shown
you're
up.
not in my arena, you don't get a seat at the table.
That's it. Like, you've never shown up once to like have a moment of vulnerability to be safe for another human being. So how can you
Or
say
even
anything?
like educate yourself, like you haven't diligently taken it on as an open-minded person to say, I don't know enough about sex work to comment on it. Maybe I should go to an event or talk to my friend Malcolm here or like whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Whatever. It's
Yeah.
exactly that. And it's like, yeah, what do you go to some car show and like start spouting off about cars when you've never driven a car or think you know about airplanes when you don't know shit about planes? Like, no, sex work is the same. Like, it's infinitely deep, infinitely deep. I love it.
I love that you correlated sex work to airplanes.
Oh yeah, I this whole I love. There's so many metaphors and parallels and like everything. I metaphorically, I like to say that uh, I'm um I'm cultivating a heart garden. That's one of the things I like to say about
Okay.
my lovers.
Yes.
So yeah, some lovers are like roses, some lovers are chrysanthemums, some lovers are, and some relationships require more water and sunlight and attention than other relationships. Some lovers might be a cactus, just like, like I don't need much. I will be out here growing on my own and come see me when you see me.
I love this though. It's so true.
Yeah. So
Uh, yeah, just like I love the fact that there's so much creativity inside of relationships and relating. Um, we're made to believe that monogamy is the only way. And I'm not pro or against it.
mhm.
I'm just saying that there's more to life than just putting yourself in a box called monogamy.
Amen. And I exactly that. There's a multitude of relationship options. There's like this little monogamy, polyamory, like you can have multiple marriage partners if you want. Do what works for you is my prevailing theory. I'm like,
Mm.
whatever works for you, and I also like to say whatever works for your stage of life.
Ooh,
Because because
here.
some people don't reflect on the possibility like hey, you might be the traditional person that lived and married your high school sweetheart and you were happy with that, and then you married and you had 3 kids and you had a 20-year marriage, and then you turned 50. Maybe you turned 50 and you're like, I need something else. I need to become a nun in a convent, or I need to like I wanted to fuck the football team when I was 15 but I never or 18 and I never got a chance to do it, so now I want to fuck a football team and I'm 50 years old and my kids are grown up and I have different needs. I want a different thing in my life, or I want to become a mommy and do dominatrix work. I've grown up. I watched a fucking movie and it gave me like an insight to a kink that I've never known in my life, but I'm 52 years old and I want to have a new chapter of my life. That's okay. Just and like that doesn't mean that your previous chapter is meaningless or that you were wrong or anything. It's just listen to your body and your relationship and needs and desires as you evolve. So like I know my nipples are more sensitive in my 40s than they were in my 20s. My like I'm like I have a little nipple thing now. I'm like I didn't have that when I was younger. I'm like, oh shit, my body, yeah, like your body is growing and changing. So it's like, yo, just go with it. And like, I'm saying that to say, like, people who there's no one shoe fits all. There's no one meal that everybody in the world has to eat and will be satisfied. So this idea that everybody should become monogamous and settle down at some point, like, oh, y'all are in the clubs. That's cute. That's cool. I did orgies, all that. I'm gonna settle down and get married. Like that's what you do when you grow up. Like fuck that. That's what
Who
some people do.
fucking said that is what I want to know.
Exactly. Like fuck out of here. Like I love
And
my life.
you know,
And
and if that's your reality, like, hey, all the power to you. I
mhm,
would never judge or ridicule your view on how life should be for you.
yeah,
Just don't bestow that upon me
yeah,
because I'm very open. I am very curious. I'm very like, let's push the envelope a little bit in a safe container. Let's,
yeah,
like I want to explore because the more knowledge you have, the better decisions you can actually make for yourself. Because if you're not aware of something being a possibility, you'll just never know. And you'll never
yeah,
do the things and you never live up to your fullest potential, perhaps. I don't know. It's all
absolutely.
inside of questions. Ask better questions, my friends.
That's really it. That's really it.
Yes.
And yeah, don't be afraid of learning new answers and being shocked by the answers because
Ooh,
yeah.
let's talk about that.
Hmm.
Visceral reaction when something goes like maybe you're like a pro yes in your logical mind and you get there like maybe you wanted to try a certain kink style, you and I'm just like, yeah, Malcolm, let's go. And I'm there, I'm in the ring, we're ready to go, I feel good, I feel safe, and then we're right there and I'm like,
Uh,
uh-uh.
yeah. Ick.
Ick, ick, ick.
Yeah. You're like,
So
yeah, your
what do you
soul
do?
starts chafing. You're like, ugh.
Yeah, you're chief, and so what do you do?
I like say, well, hold on. Stop. Take a big deep breath, and then like, just like look in the mirror in my mind and really ask. I mean, there are times when you can be confused about your feelings and you're like, I don't know, like, what am I feeling? This is new. But then I take that like it's either 5 seconds or 1 second, whatever, and just be like, yes or no. Are you okay with this? And then like there's like certain things your body will be like, if it's not extreme one, like if it's not extreme yes, then it's probably no. And I'm like, okay, I either have to slow down or stop. We can't go forward. I can't do this. You cannot put that in my butthole, or I can't, I can't like put my mouth there, or like I thought so, but like,
Using a certain toy or like
yeah, like that. Yeah, like
maybe a
I got
sleeping.
cropped. I saw all these sex toys and I was trying a bunch of them and I was like, yeah. And then somebody pulled out a cane, the cane. One touch, I was like, no, no more, no cane, no, no.
Yeah, I love
I,
that.
I can do the flogger, I can do the pinwheel, I can do
Yeah.
I can do,
So I think
but
it's
then yeah,
really important that
it's I just really try to just breathe and stop and
okay,
and then have that. I like to say you can do it. You can explore that conversation about what's going wrong, and it can be a 30-minute conversation, or it can be a 10-minute conversation, or it can be a 30-second conversation. You
it
could
can
just like,
literally be like what I do is like it could be a self-reflection, I'll say pause, like something's coming up for me. This is kind of how I go. I like, like something's coming up for me. I'm having this weird reaction I didn't anticipate. Can we please talk or just pause or just give me a moment? And if it's like really deep, like I can feel it's like, oh, it's like in my core of traumas
mm-hmm,
that I'm getting reacted to, then I say, I'm going to have to reflect on this on my own. Let's either just cuddle or we can just pivot a little bit so I'm not in that space anymore. And I think it's important we speak out about that because so many of us, it doesn't matter who you are, have experienced some form of not being able to speak up because you don't want the other person to feel bad.
mm-hmm,
And in its extreme measure, that's what kind of rape looks like.
absolutely.
Because I didn't say this, because we didn't agree on consent, because I didn't, it's no one's fault necessarily. But the more what we don't speak our truth as the individual, the more there's room for that to happen.
100%.
So even in relationships, like it's very important you're very clear with yourself first that this works, this doesn't, and know that you can pivot at any time. Ladies,
Mm-hmm,
especially, please hear this.
mm-hmm. Agreed.
I grew up in a society where I was a tease because I would say things and it would be racy in my mind and I felt so, ooh, let's go. And then I would get there and I was like, absolutely not, I can't.
Mm.
And people would be very angry with me.
Mm.
What? Yeah,
Mm.
because they're not getting what they thought they were getting, kind of thing, right? Like that's just how it went. I'm not saying that's all people, but that could be a scenario. Now, if I had the communication style, if I had the understanding of consent and knowing that I can change my mind at any time, that scenario would go way different.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there is no teasing. It's just what exists right now is all that exists right now.
Mm.
And even though we could be naked, we could have music playing, we could have floating incense in the air and whatever in a bubble bath, like if we're sitting on the edge of a beautiful moment, that doesn't mean we're fucking. So if you're imagining that we're fucking, we're not fucking. We are sitting in this beautiful moment naked. So
Mm.
be in this naked moment, because
Mm.
if
Yes.
you yeah, if you expect penetration and you're going to destroy this beautiful present moment because penetration isn't happening, yeah, that's a violation. That's unconsensual, like, imagination. You're fucking it up. Like, no, enjoy exactly what exists, and if you would like more, ask for more. You will get a yes or no. If the person had intent, and like that's the thing, if you're in them and you're like, yeah, I was flirting and playing and we were teasing, and you're like, if you change your mind, that's it. You've changed your mind. Even if the person's like, we are next Friday, I'm taking you out for Valentine's Day. There's gonna be roses, dinner, da 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 da. Then we go back to your house. And like it's like could be semi unassumed, but we're gonna maybe have a romantic evening. All that happens, you go back. If you're like, you know what, the meal made my stomach hurt. I don't feel sexy. I don't want to have sex. You're very free to be like, you know what? I know we had planned all this. No sex is happening tonight. Don't expect anything. That's it, period.
Yes. So I have a I have one of those for myself. So without getting into too much detail, I had a lot of like digestion problems growing up. So
Mm-hmm.
that was always a concern for me, like if going out on a date or like I know I was planning to be very intimate and possibly intercourse. So one of my boyfriends, I remember after we got a lot acquainted and everything, we've dated a long time, et cetera, et cetera. I used to tell him, let's go and do the sexy time thing first and then
Mm-hmm.
go eat. So it would actually make me feel safe in my body that I didn't have to, like if I got sick, it didn't matter. We already did the nasty.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then he's satisfied because, oh my God, like my woman loves me so much that she changed her schedule knowing that a possibility could arise where she doesn't want to have sex after dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just like that's me, that's my heart, right? Like that's something I just do because I know how important it is for certain people.
That's fantastic. That's and
um
that's smart solution living.
but
So.
that's the thing that people always see the problems, they never understand that problems just mean there's an opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
an
Mm-hmm.
opportunity to do things differently, an opportunity to speak up and speak your truth. There's an opportunity to do things how you want to do them, not how society does them, or like simple as a date, expansive as a marriage. It doesn't matter. Like you are the creator, the center, the fun center Rigo of your own universe, my friends.
I
So please,
agree.
please, please choose for you and nobody else in your life. That is my, yes, my 2 cents.
I I love that. I co-sign it. I live it. I am so with it. That's it. That's it. Like that's the thing about love. I mean, and that's the thing. Like when we talk about metaphors, I love. There's a bunch of metaphors that I love to apply to sex work and stuff. And this gladiator war metaphor is a constant one. Like
Yes.
there's infinite ways, like there's infinite martial arts, there are infinite weapons, there are infinite guns, there's infinite ways to actually harm people in this world. There's so many ways to be violent. The flip side of that is there are so many ways to love people. There's infinite relationships, there's so many sexual kinks, there's so many conversation styles, there's so many gifts we can share with each other. So love is just as infinite as war. And people are traditionally conditioned to be more scared of each other than be more open to each other. So, and I mean, I get it. I get it. Especially after being heartbroken or, catfished or raped or assaulted or whatever, any of the shitty things that can happen as a human. I get it. It's not easy to pick up the pieces and then like try to jump back into love again. I get it. But that's the importance of our work.
Oh, 100%. One of the greatest things my mentor ever taught me was, this is just a mindset mentor, but I'm really taking it into my work with, how do we have an open heart but firm boundaries? Meaning it's not a whole big huge wall that people cannot penetrate through, but you are protected and safe and loved in yourself, and opening that up to anyone that is worthy. That's the key, worthy of receiving that.
I have to write that down. That's brilliant.
I used to
I
have
live with
to,
that.
yes, because I used to have to like love everyone and make sure everyone loved me. And I'm gonna tell you something, it was exhausting
Yes, I
and
know
dangerous.
that. I know that, my friend. I know that pain.
Dangerous. Oh my God.
Oh,
So dangerous, right? Like,
yeah. Yeah.
like if you just let anyone walk all over your heart, then yeah, of course it's gonna get trampled on.
Oh, totally. And then you want to still try to be that loving person while more and more people are exploiting you and walking on you, and you don't know how to establish boundaries or protect yourself or tell them, hey, I have limits and all that. And you still want to do the work, and you just keep getting more and more destroyed, and you're not really helping them because they're more exploiting you than appreciating what gifts you're offering them. And it's a whole horrible cycle. I was destroyed by that too, and I used to put women on pedestals, be like, "Yo, I'm a goddess worshiper. I'm a sacred, intimate. Women are infinite, divine, beautiful creatures," which is the absolute truth. But I elevated them on a pedestal and kind of removed some of the humanity from them to be like to like not see when a woman who was in a very fleshy human body was doing some horrible human things to me. So it's like we are all divine beings, but we are human beings as well. And humans are not perfect. Humans make mistakes. Humans fuck up. Humans hurt each other. Humans, that's just life. So I'm like, I could see your divinity and I respect it, but like if I was not seeing your humanity and you disrespecting me, it was fucking me up. And I wasn't doing the work right. And I was like, I'm like, yo, I definitely put women on pedestals. I see women as sacred, divine goddesses for sure. But it took me a while to be like, if I'm seeing the goddess in her and she's not seeing the goddess in herself, and she's treating me not like a godly being, this isn't working. I must gracefully bow out of this situation and
Oh my goodness, yes.
walk it
Yes, yes,
back.
yes, for sure.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
then, it's just not throw her in the trash and not totally disrespect her or whatever. Just be like, all right, I see what I may be able to give and what I can't give. And I just have
Right.
to
And that's the
find
beauty of
space.
boundaries. Okay. Boundaries are an act of service and self-love. You're teaching people how you want to be treated when you set something in motion when it just doesn't work for you. And it's
Mm-hmm.
okay. And if the person is, of similar caliber to self,
Mm-hmm.
they'll understand you. And if they don't, well, I'm gonna tell you one thing that I've experienced. One day, may not be tomorrow, may not be next week, but they come back and they say, thank you for doing that.
I cherish you so much. Yo, this is the first place I'm gonna share something. I went to the event last night. Okay, I'm gonna say this.
Yeah.
And this might be the only place I ever say this.
Holy shit. Okay.
And yeah, I kind of want it to be. But in all the 10 years I'm coming up to my 10th year as a sex worker.
Okay.
And as a polyamorous relationship healer and whatever, in all of my, nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. I try to love and be great to all my ex porn star people I've shot porn with that I don't shoot porn with anymore. Multiple people are married, whatever. I'm good with virtually all of my exes. We're friends, we're respectful, I honor them. Some of my exes I've helped get other relationships, actually.
Totally.
So I really try to be healthy and loving in all of my situations, even after it ends. It just shifts. It's like, all right, we're not lovers anymore. We're just friends. I don't want to throw it all away. There was one person in the last 10 years, only one, who I don't know exactly fully why, but we had magnificent sex, but I don't know why. At some point, the relationship broke down and they separated from me. And I didn't know why. And I wanted it to continue because they were also divine, sacred, intimate. And it just ended really, really briefly. And I reached out to them a couple times, not incessantly, but I did reach out to them a few times. And they refused to tell me why we stopped. And I was like, we have something really deep. I even told them about my stomach issues. I hear you, I've had some stomach issues. And I was like, you're one of the only people I've ever told about my stomach issues. And we've had amazing sex and you see sacred spiritual connection. And it only lasted like, and then boom, it just died out of nowhere. And that it was the only person who had actually blocked my number. Only one woman had ever blocked my number, like ever. And that's how this relationship ended 4 years ago. I bumped into and I loved them. I cared about them. I only tried to send goodness to them, and it ended strangely. I bumped into them last night.
Sorry.
I bumped into them last night, and I saw them and I was like, my brain was like, holy shit, I'm seeing them again. Fuck. And I was like, I wasn't carrying any of the past. I wasn't
Right.
carrying any of the like, why did we break up?
This
Why?
is
Like,
key, people.
yeah, I wasn't holding on to any of that. But like, I mean, if I ever find out, that'll be cool. But if I never find out, I can live with that. But like, I saw them and I looked them in the eyes and I was like, my brain was like, oh my God, it's her. Holy fuck. And I was like, is it going to go to shit? Are they going to be really angry that they see me again, or are we going to have a new chapter? And I saw them and they're like, oh, it's so nice to see you, and they hugged me and like they were open, and I was like they must remember like how we ended. But I'm like, shit, I this doesn't feel bad at all. Like I guess the love that I gave them, like they did appreciate it, and kind of took them a while to see it. And I don't know if necessarily they feel like, oh shit, I was wrong for blocking them. I don't know the reason behind that. All I'm saying is, through some magical mystery miracle of life, they did appreciate the love that I was always giving them, and even like unconsciously or consciously. And the one person that I had issues with, the one woman that ever blocked me, I reconnected with and I have a new relationship with, and it's wonderful. Thank you for letting me say that. It's for me, it's really important.
Of course.
Also, because I had some of the best sex in the world with this person. Like,
I
we didn't
love
have a lot of it, but like our bodies chemically were explosive. And like
it's so great. Oh my
I wrote a
God.
song for her about it.
Yes.
I kind of cried about it. I'm like, I don't want to lose this connection. We have something so
No,
powerful.
but
And
it's that piece
it's back.
around like lo learning about loving detachment,
Yeah.
you know, and it's something I very much diligently work with people is, you know, someone can be your everything in that moment and you're like so heightened and you're like, oh, chemistry and things, it's explosive, it's expansive, and then it's done. And
Yes.
you go your separate ways.
Yeah.
Even if you're in a loving relationship, it's all good.
Mhm.
But it's not like codependent. It's not like enmeshment. It's this beautiful understanding of one's self and the other person, their boundaries, their essence, and just being like, I'm so blessed to have these experiences with you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
And sometimes it might be this experience. There
mhm.
are times where I've had magical divine connection with people, and I'm like, the sex was fantastic, the kissing was fantastic, the conversation leading up to it was fantastic, everything felt great. did you felt it? Yeah, yes, you agree, you agree. Yes, okay, it feels like you authentically for sure agree. Yes. Do you want to do it again?
No.
No. Yeah, for real. Yeah, for real. Like this may never happen again, and that's it. And there's like
You have to
no,
be okay with that.
yeah, like exactly. There may be a logical reason. They may be like, hey, I'm moving away, or I was only in town for the weekend, or hey, like I just for some reason that I can't even tell you, I'm just not ever gonna do that again. And you have to just live with that.
Yeah.
You're like,
So
no,
for time's
what?
sake, I'm gonna have to cut us off, my love.
Oh yeah, no, no, no. I know that
I
we are
honestly could probably be on here for another 10 hours, and I'm not joking. Like, that's not a throwout number, that's a fact.
yeah. I
To
have
have this be segmented, and I'm definitely gonna have you back again because this has been unbelievable and so loving. I
thank
love
you.
you so much.
I love you too, and I love your wisdom, your heart, your kindness, your yeah, everything. Thank you for this. Thank you.
Welcome.
It's a wonderful to find a fellow sacred intimate because
Yeah.
it's rare in this world. It really is. So
Okay.
thank you for the work you do. Thank you for your friendship and connection. And I got love for you. It's lovely unicorn sweetness. Is
Sweetness.
that
Love
right?
you.
Okay, okay. Peace from Malcolm
Love
Lovejoy.
you.
MalcolmLovejoy.com. If you want to find me, I'm out here. I'm in the world making love. And if you want it, come get it.
We're gonna link some stuff in the recording for everybody. So definitely give a shout out to Mr. Lovejoy Hill if anything resonates. We always love the hearts. Yes, yes, yes.
All the,
But yes, thank you again.
thank you.